Yo, yo. What's going on? What's going on? How's everybody doing? Looks like this NETE is going to be kind of a little bit of a heater today. Seems like these little micro float stocks have really been flying around. You see kind of break this 10 range. You'll get a little bit of action in this bad boy. I'd add it to the list. You know, tops, junk, SLS, junk, AYUT, junk. DVAX, blast from the past. See something like this, like when it gaps up like that, it's going to be really just, frankly, it's just going to be, it's in range. You don't want to be going in range. A lot of these little dollar stocks are popping up. Dollar stocks are for hoes, as you know, right? You just don't get the range that you need in them. Can't make any money on them. Let me change this around a little bit. There we go. Sorry, just had to add this thing. Sorry for being late today. I had a little computer mishap. All right, so now we got a little bit more. Now we got a little bit more meat. X. Yeah, right, something like that. Gap up. That's mid-range. What's going on, peoples? All right, so Jack. You know, this one, like, you're kind of breaking out the highs here. But the thing is, if it doesn't get over 78, you're really, you're really kind of shit out of luck. It's not even traded much. Usually, like, when it's just that thin pre-market, I usually leave it alone. YNDX, this thing is kind of gapping up, but right after just a big nasty flush, you know, something like that, you know, it's been like down 30 million, 20 million. So, you know, a good chunk of its float's already been sold off now. This type of bounce is like really, it's really tough, you know, because you're going to be mid-range and it very well just may just roll back over. I don't know what this China tax. Chinese officials pledge to support the world's second biggest with tax cuts. Oh, boy. These guys. All right, cool. So, yeah, I'd pass on that one, too. You know, we need hotter, man. So, like something like a Momo. So you can see this is like a classic bear flag, right? You get like this breakdown, pull back into the 9, bear flag now. You know, it's gapping up too, but it's mid-range, right? And when you're mid-range like that, like you're just not going to be able to get you're not get the action. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chinese stocks run, you know, right? Obviously, we've seen like with tax cuts and stuff what can happen. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see some Chinese stocks run, but you got to find the ones that are a little bit cleaner, that are going to start breaking over, you know, some levels. And so, you know, you could go with something that's a little bit tighter, like, you know, see, these IQs are even tough, right? Because they're all just been decimated. We'd have to find some that haven't been totally smoked out. And, you know, once they break maybe over the 9 EMAs, you could probably take those down. So, you know, like this Huya is like tight here. But it's just in such a, you know, Carrie used to talk about this. It's in such a downtrend. Who knows? The key is going to be really like if the Chinese market just holds, and if, you know, if you start to see a big run in them, obviously they're really oversold, but none of them are like that clean. So you just have to be kind of careful with them. But when a sector runs and you have like the ability, when a sector runs and you have, you know, XYZ stocks that are just so oversold, you know, you can come in pop. It's just a matter of, can you trust them? You know, sometimes these little pops in the teeth of a bear market, and that's really what China is in right now, right? In the teeth of kind of a bear market. You know, you can see this 2018 hasn't been a good year for the Chinese markets at all. You know, that's a bear market for them, right? That's a 1-year downtrend. It's hard to kind of trust some of these things sometimes. So what I'll usually do with something like this is I'll kind of come in and check like midday some of these Chinese stocks. You know, maybe after the first hour or so, we'll check and see if they're like, if they're starting to break over some levels, and if they have some momentum, we can kind of jump into them and see what's going on here. On the downside, it looks like there's quite a few stocks that are just getting smoked out here. MRTX, so like this could be something to play. You've got a bear flag over here, and you can see when the stock has like this much room to fall, you'll have definitely a little bit more downside. Now with this, like the SSR is going to be on, it's going to be down 25%. So what you got to do is let this thing, it's going to gap down. You got to let it pop and then roll over. So like what you need to see is like a rollover pattern, right? So as it pops down, like it's going to maybe pop up 32, 33, 34. Watch how it acts around the 9 EMA. And then like what you want to start to see is if it starts to kind of roll over on that bad boy, that's when you know you want to kind of take this thing back down. So yeah, Jamal, I think you could kind of roll around with this one. But I wouldn't short it right at the open personally, because it's just going to be you know, that SSR is going to make it real tricky. Add a little filter to this. Hold on. Let's see if we get a little different result. MRTN, Piang, PHG has. All right. So you got quite a few. PHG, nasty, but that's a foreign stock, which they're almost unplayable. This Hasbro, you could definitely add to the list because, you know, you've got seem like you got this kind of, you're breaking under the 200 SMA. So overall, and you can see even pre-market, this thing's been hanging down lower and lower. So, you know, overall, I think this one you could probably play. Yes, I add that one to the list too. As MRTX. MRTX. And yeah, some of these other ones, BMI moves super slow. PTI's gapping down too. You know, this one's going to need a lot of work. Obviously, this thing goes from, you know, a buck to 11. You know, it's not just going to pop out of just the pop, right? You know, so this one's going to need a lot more work. You know, let it come back. If it starts to kind of make its way back and you see it kind of clear over these nines, maybe you kind of take a look back at it. But, you know, overall, I think it's got to have just a little bit more work to do. Look, overall, the market is still, even the market's popping, you've got to be careful with the IWM like this. There's just a lot of stocks like Squarespace and stuff that are bear flagging here. And if they start breaking under these levels, you know, you've got to take these things down. Like, look at Roku and stuff, right? Like, these kind of breakdown pullbacks have really been working. AMD got smoked on Friday, you know, down 11%. So it's really hard. Like, when you get four more momentum stocks and they get smoked down like that, you can't really trust anything, right? And so you can't really trust any of it. So you got to be just real careful when you go with this stuff to get go, you know, to really have it. You know, really have it down like that. So just something to kind of keep mind of as you guys are going through this. Where'd my midbit go? Shit. All right, my friends, I've got to go do what I got to do. All right?